I appreciate Kyle dropping the first F-bomb today. I'm just going to take it on faith that if you showed up for a 7:30 a.m. breakfast meeting for a presentation called Fuck Storytelling, that you are not the type to be easily offended by strong language. If I'm wrong about that, I will apologize in advance for my use of the word storytelling. I know that it's offensive to some. There are two things that I would like to tell you about the title of this presentation. First, it arose as a truly spontaneous utterance from my lips in this very room about 4 or 5 months ago. There were a number of us here having a senior leadership meeting about the future of the agency, doing some planning, and one of our ECDs, who I love very much, started waxing poetic about the virtues of storytelling and how it was all about storytelling, and these words just erupted from my lips. The room went dead silent. It was just one of those awful, embarrassing, painful moments. And people turned around and looked at me like I had just screamed out loud, "I love eating babies!" And it was just, it was awful. And so I just knew in that moment that I had to deal with this topic, and I had to build this presentation. The other thing that I've learned after sort of putting this presentation, the title out there in the wild, is that apparently if you include profanity in these Wednesday Acceleration meeting titles, you get a much bigger audience. So I'm really happy today to announce that the next couple of sessions have been reformatted, and I hope you'll all attend. But back to today's topic. We love stories, right? This industry loves stories and storytelling. How many of you have, come on, fess up, how many of you have described yourself as a storyteller? All right, good. So Storytelling Anonymous meeting today. You're not alone, right? Throughout the industry, wherever you look, people like to talk about storytelling. We have suit-wearing execs with perfect hair who love storytelling. This is what I got for them. We have scarf-wearing digital dudes with thinning hair. They love stories too. And we have glasses-wearing pundits with no hair. And these guys love stories. Molly loves Seth. And even, here at Barclay, lovable Tom Demetrio, who no one could say a bad thing about. I have a special one for him. Don't you love it? Mr. Rogers smiles even when he's flipping you off. I mean, how awesome is that? And it takes about 20 seconds of Googling to find an abundant variety of stories about story and storytelling from industry trade pubs. This one, I confess, is my favorite. And this, I think, the headline sort of expresses where I am with the whole storytelling meme. Storytelling is trendy and trending. If you look at the Twitter. I'm sorry, I haven't had enough coffee this morning. If you look at the Twitter stream and tweet mentions of storytelling, it's really blown up over the last couple of years. And here, closer to home, several examples. Digital storytelling is at the core of absolutely everything we do. From Bazillion, John, where are you? You're here, thank you. Lee Clow, Alex Boguski, storytelling in the future. We tell stories, that's it. Storytelling in digital is a must across the board from VML. We have been digital storytellers since the beginning, from my friend Terry Rogers at Hint, and even here at Barclay. When storytelling becomes story doing, the employee lives the brand. And I have a special class of profanity for this construct of story doing, which I'll get to in a little bit. So here's the deal. I mean, I think you can see from this that if you are talking about stories and storytelling, then you are not telling a very interesting story, and certainly not a very differentiating story, right? If we're all saying the same things, then really, is anybody listening? There's even an agency, right, called Story. And these guys are the world's first post-advertising agency applying established storytelling technique and talent. Oh, please. How pretentious. Here's the thing. Storytelling is great. I love stories. I grew up on stories. My mom read bedtime stories to me every single night of my childhood. Giving Tree, Where the Sidewalk Ends, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, right? I love stories, right? I even love stories about stories. How many of you have seen The Princess Bride, right? It's a story about stories, and it's one of the best movies ever made. It's fantastic. And I get The whole sort of story archetype thing. Joseph Campbell, right? The hero with 1,000 faces. Star Wars is just the epic of Gilgamesh with lightsabers and star cruisers and Death Stars. Got it. Right? I buy all that. But when we limit ourselves to the realm of storytelling, we put ourselves in a box. We miss out on realms of action and interaction that are higher and more meaningful and broader. We can do more than simply tell stories. All right, I want to prove this. I want you all to do a little thought exercise with me now. We'll take a trip down memory lane. So everybody close your eyes. And I mean this, close your eyes. I'm not going to do anything to you. I want you to remember something. I want you to really call to mind vividly something important. I want you to remember the last time that you had a really hard, hot, passionate, mind-blowing, body-rocking kiss. Remember that kiss. Really savor it. Who was it? When was it? What did it feel like? What did it smell like? What was your heart doing? All right, open your eyes. Some of you are blushing. Vernon, that must have been a pretty nice kiss. Several. All right? How many of you would have traded the experience of that kiss for somebody else telling you a story about that kiss? Nobody, right? Because experience trumps story. We tell stories about experience, but none of us trade an experience for a story. And that's the first thing that I really want to call out. When we say that all we do is storytelling, we are removing ourselves from this realm of experience, and we can create experiences. Now, when you were imagining that kiss, did anyone picture this guy? Good. I'm really glad that no one did. So this is Karl Rove. I'm not a fan, but I do respect his intelligence. And in a certain twisted way, I respect his point of view. He said this, he's famous for this quote: "When we act, we create our own reality. And while you're studying that reality, we'll act again, creating new realities. And you, all of you, will be left to study what we do." Do you know who he was talking to? Journalists, storytellers. Drawing a line between action and story. And that's point number 2. Action trumps story. Those who act are the ones who other people write stories about. And when we say we're all about storytelling, storytelling is all we do, this industry is all about stories, we remove ourselves from those higher planes of experience and action, and we put ourselves in a box, right? The box is limiting. And when you put yourself in a box, it's bad. Don't do it. An example from Barclays' portfolio, I think one of the things that we've had a lot of publicity and a lot of success with over the last couple of years was something that Nation's Restaurant News called a Top 5 Restaurant Campaign of 2012. It's a pretty nice accolade for any agency, right? To have your industry publication say this is one of the best campaigns. Zero media dollars were spent on this campaign. This was an app. This was a Krispy Kreme hot light app. All we did was we connected the neon lights that are in Krispy Kremes to the Internet of Things so that Krispy Kreme fans could find out when the donuts were being made hot and fresh in their nearest Krispy Kreme, right? Zero media dollars. Top 5 campaign. That's great, right? Is it a story? Is there a protagonist? Is there a plot line, conflict, drama? No, there's none of that, right? It's utility. Now, maybe it made people happy. I'm not saying it didn't evoke a response or reaction, but it's not a story. Now, some have called this story doing, and the Queen does not appreciate the abuse of her language. I think that this phrase story doing really demonstrates everything that's wrong with the frame of storytelling, right? We're trying to force fit everything we do into this arbitrary artificial construct, and it doesn't work. If you go back, if you rewind to the early days of this industry, right, we used to look at the fundamental value proposition of what the agency had to offer, at least on the creative side, in a very simple formulation, right? It was art and copy. And literally there was an art guy and a copy guy, and they were guys, back in the era of Mad Men until Peggy Olson came along. And that was it, right? Art and copy. We still have an art and copy club, right? That's sort of central to what we do. But folks, we've been in a different era, at least since the early 90s. I know some of you guys have been doing interactive nearly as long as I have. And in the 90s, we started to realize that the formulation needed to change. And people started to talk about art, copy, and code because interactivity became a really important element in the mix, right? It was a way of expressing and interacting. And today, digital agencies often use this formula as to express what they're about. But I want to postulate to you that we are in a different era still. We have entered into the post-digital era. Digital is no longer unique, it's no longer new, it's no longer a separate channel. We're seeing the fusing of the digital and physical realms into a single experience. And so I'm going to put out that the new formula that we all ought to be operating under is this. It's art, copy, code, and solder. It's bringing creative and technology together and giving them a physical presence in the real world where people can encounter these ideas. And this is the formulation that agencies need and brands need to be grappling with and figuring out how to create and evoke responses and reactions beyond storytelling. So I want to share with you a few examples that I think really bring this idea to life. I'm sure not all of these examples will be new to all of you, and I really hope they're not, but perhaps they'll be new for some. And I think they're incredibly meaningful and really point in the direction that we should all be going. So 2013 Gravity Award winner, Adweek launched the Project Isaac Awards last year to celebrate invention in advertising. This was the one that got the top prize. This is a billboard from Lima, Peru. How many of you have seen this? So most of you, several of you. I'm just going to go ahead and play the case study.
UTech, the University of Engineering and Technology, was about to open the application period for 2013, so they needed to call students' attention. Not just any student, but those who want to change the world, like UTech does. So we decided to start by changing our city. Lima and its surrounding villages are located in the coastal desert of Peru. In this place, there are many people suffering from the lack of potable water.
Acá en este pueblo de Pujama, todos, mayoría sacamos agua de pozo. Y no es agradable y es contaminada.
The presence of rain in this region is almost zero, but the atmospheric humidity is about 98%. Inspired by this, we worked as a team, UTech and the agency, to build the first billboard that produces drinking water out of air. The billboard has a unique technology that captures the air humidity and turns it into drinking water.
Cada generador atrapa lo que es la humedad del ambiente. De ahí pasa un sistema de osmosis inversa. Cada tanque almacena el promedio de 20 litros. Las 5 máquinas van a hacer este proceso y se va a almacenar todo en un solo tanque.
The billboard has already produced thousands of liters of drinking water. That equals the water consumption of hundreds of families per month.
This billboard can capture moisture.
I'm just going to pause there. So that's awesome on all kinds of levels, right? It's a really creative application of technology. Marshall McLuhan said the medium is the message. I'm going to tell you that the functionality is the message, right? It's totally aligned with the university's purpose. Not only does it demonstrate what they do, but it demonstrates why they do it, right? If you think about Simon Sinek's golden circles, the how, what, why, it goes all the way from, here's what we do to here's why we do it, to an idea of social good. It's fabulous. Here's another example. How many of you are familiar with Cinder? Right? Nobody. Okay, Cinder won the Cannes Gold Lion last year for innovation. It is a software application created by an agency.
Cinder is a software development platform for creative coding, with a special emphasis on real-time graphics, audio, and next-generation input, like multi-touch and depth cameras. It's being used in physical installations, mobile apps, music visualizers, and countless other types of projects. Originally written as an in-house tool, Cinder has since been open-sourced and has quickly taken on a life of its own, with a huge global community not just using it, but contributing back with new source code, bug fixes, and documentation. It's now opening the door for a growing list of advertising, design, technology, and visual effects companies to create a whole new category of work for their clients, and the results are impressive. Cinder is also an exciting example of the ad industry not just responding to, but actually leading tech innovation. A number of technology giants are leaning on Cinder for products as well as R&D. New hardware from Microsoft, Intel, and the recently announced Leap input device have all shipped specifically with Cinder support built in. Beyond commercial use, academic institutions around the world are also using it for research and teaching it in their courses.
So you get the gist there. So again, right, here's this incredible software tool. Doesn't come out of a Silicon Valley startup. It comes out of an agency. Right? We can do this stuff, people. Here's another example, and I love this one.
When you're shopping for glasses, there's this odd moment where you have to take off your old prescription glasses to try on a new pair. Only the new pair you're trying on is really just a frame with no prescription. It's an obvious problem. How can you feel confident buying glasses when you can't even see how you look in them? LensCrafters, a brand known for innovation, took a hard look at the way people shop for frames, with an eye towards improving the experience. The result? MyLook, a digital mirror installation that helps you capture looks and evaluate them while you're wearing your glasses. Take pictures from multiple angles, post on Facebook to see what friends think, and walk away knowing you look good. Over a 6-month period, we designed the experience, found the hardware, and worked with fabrication teams to build a prototype. Then we put it in 23 different LensCrafters stores to see what would happen. Open up the two-way mirror and you'll find a high-definition plasma display. As people approach, a sonar motion detection system activates the mirror and welcomes them. And because not everyone is the same height, we installed 9 cameras powered by facial recognition software to ensure we're capturing photos at the best possible angle. Since it launched, MyLook has helped thousands find their look with confidence, leading to fewer returns. But the true results speak for themselves.
The last time I bought glasses, I had to squint to see how they look. When I walked in here today, I didn't really expect there to be such a cool tool to pick out my frames, so that was a nice surprise.
I get to see frames side by side. There's no more guesswork.
I just emailed these to my husband. He loves them.
Over the next 2 years, MyLook will continue to evolve and be rolled out to hundreds of stores coast to coast. Along the way, transforming how people shop for glasses and find their next look.
So I like that one on a lot of levels. The first thing that really appeals to me about that case study is that it starts with a human problem that people haven't tackled before in an interesting way. Another thing I love about that case study is that it's really about the infusion of technology and experience driven by technology into a retail space. And then there are things like the integration with social. I love the attention to detail in terms of the experience design with the 9 cameras at multiple heights. This, I think, is really emblematic of an agency approach, and this was done by Sapient Nitro, I believe, where they start from experience design, incorporate technology, and create something that's potentially really game-changing for their client. One last piece, you guys all know this, right? Nike Fuel Band. Do you know who created it? Nike? Nope. RGA, their agency.
This is the Nike Plus Fuel Band, made to inspire anyone to be more active. Its foundation is a universal system of measurement called Fuel. Unlike calories, Fuel lets you compare yourself with anyone, no matter what their body type is or what they're doing. The Fuel Band is the device you wear that tracks everything you do. One button lets you check your stats. LED lights change from red to yellow and then to green when you hit your goal. Motivation is the core of the experience. To make sure fuel is something people want to use and share every day, competition and celebration are built in. As we experimented with the algorithm behind Fuel and the design of the experience, our work gave us an insight we felt summed up the Fuel Band story. Everything you do counts.
Can you count, suckers?
At launch, this became the campaign that introduced Fuel to the world. From the moment they put it on in the morning, users are constantly interacting with the Fuel Band and the service that drives it. They are sharing more, talking about the brand more, and spending more on Nike products. Fuel has fundamentally changed Nike's business as well. From a marketer of athletic shoes to a company whose products and services work together in a system of value for consumers, and whose mission has become an obsession with using technology to make every athlete better. This is the Nike Plus Fuel Band.
So, again, an agency created that, right? I mean, and yes, there are campaigns that surround that, but at the core of it is a technology-fueled experience. And there's one more piece I forgot about that I want to show, and this is pretty important. This is an installation that BMW did in New York last year. It's kind of fabulous. That's an incredibly cool project. At a technological level, doing that sort of real-time motion tracking and overlay of the virtual cars on top of the real cars, that's really cool. And the geek in me loves that. But I think what's most important about that project is this. It's that human reaction to, oh, wow, how are they doing that? That's amazement, right? So, I said earlier that stories aren't the only way to evoke a reaction. That's what I'm talking about, right? We can amaze and delight people with these creative applications of technology, and we should be striving for that. Another dimension of this case study that's really important, I talked to the folks from Spies and Assassins in New York who created this. They told me that this installation lasted 3 days, cost around $1 million, right? It was seen by maybe 20,000 people. There's no way that you can justify that expense. Even BMW, even a brand like BMW, can't justify that expense based purely on the people who experienced it in real time. But when you add up all the incremental exposure it got from trade press, from people posting it, and you do the math, it blows away any media buy that you could do. And so here I think is the twist in my tale. It turns out that experience and story are mutually beneficial. There's a virtuous relationship, a virtuous cycle between the two. And we need both. So at the end of the day, again, I love stories. What I'm saying is storytelling is important, but it's not sufficient. It's important, but not sufficient. Moving forward, our industry needs to embrace this idea of fusing creativity and technology. Digital cannot be simply a channel. It cannot be a means to deliver a message. We need to come up with ideas where the technology is a core creative element, where it's an intrinsic part of the idea. That is our challenge. That's our industry's challenge in the years ahead. We need to begin to grapple with this convergence of the digital and physical worlds, right? We can't simply think about screen design and websites and mobile applications and mobile sites and responsive design. That's not enough. We need to begin to grapple with how do we bring these two worlds together in compelling ways so that we can excite people, so that we can grab their attention, so that we can bring them closer to the brand. And we need to go from thinking about concepts and bringing ideas to reality faster. So one of the things that we do at Barclay to do that, we've placed an emphasis on rapid prototyping. We no longer simply present storyboards and concepts and images to clients. We present functional prototypes. We have a process at Barclay now where we bring teams together, and in a week they go from idea to functioning prototype. And that's what we show to clients. Agencies have to get better at going from abstract idea to physical reality fast. That's what we need to do in order to succeed in this world. So at the end of the day, my challenge to my partners at Barclay and my challenge to you all is this. Yes, let's make ads, let's make stories, but let's also make experiences and services and products and even companies, right? Because we can, and because that's what the near future demands of us. That's what we need to do to succeed. So that's my pitch. I hope you'll all join along in this endeavor. And if you don't, then thank you very much.